Then also we invited one of Goodwill ambassador, President Frank DeDominicis is one of the good ambassador in the community. So he has some few remarks to make to celebrate Martin Luther King. You're most welcome.
How is everybody?
Good.
Full of food.
Food is delicious.
I am a global goodwill ambassador. There's about 30,000 of us. When I was first made a global goodwill ambassador in 2017, there were only 5,000 of us. But there's now 30,000 plus do-gooders around the world who are helping each other in many different ways. And I became a goodwill ambassador because of my involvement with William and some projects that we were working on. Since the 70s, Boulder has been good to me. I've given to it and it's given to me. It's also the origin of my own spiritual path. So I'm honored to be here with the dignitaries present. So let me allow you to hack into my brain where it's been at lately as I try to absorb all the information that's being thrown at us. Recall the impact that Martin Luther King had on me as a young community activist in the 60s. He led the 1956 bus boycott after Rosa Parks was arrested, as you know. He received the 1964 Nobel Peace Prize. And today we remember his dream and a simple practice that he and Coretta, his wife, practiced of forgiveness. She forgave her husband's killers after 3 days after he was shot. He forgave those who bombed his house. We'll get a chance to practice what real forgiveness is like at the end of this talk. I want to just read a quote from the press around Congressman John Lewis. He died on July 17th from pancreatic cancer. Lewis was a legend, an icon of the civil rights movement. He rode buses with the Freedom Riders in 1961. He was the last surviving speaker from the 1963 March on Washington that hosted Martin Luther King for his famous I Have a Dream talk. On March 7th, 1965, Lewis led a voting rights march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but was stopped and beaten, as well as his friends, beaten by the Alabama state troopers. Several historians note that John Lewis is passing and said that he literally bled for his beliefs. Several tributes to Congressman John Lewis include this story of a former Klansman who attacked the Freedom Riders at Rock Hill, South Carolina at a bus station. Later in life, Elwyn Wilson, the former Klansman, motivated by the election of Barack Obama and Wilson's own fear of hell, evidently he had some conscience at some point, a moment of conscience, and feared that God would send him to hell for his sins. So he sought to find the man he beat in 1961, and he found him as a congressman. He traveled to Washington, met with Lewis, apologized for his brutal actions, and Lewis forgave him, Martin forgave Lewis, and the two men became friends and became buddies who showed up on several public occurrences, including Oprah show. You know, right now, the world's mental health, and even locally, in Boulder City, Boulder County, it's not very good. And the same thing with the statistical trends around that, too. COVID and lockdown did not help that, but it certainly showed the rocks at the bottom of the creek what human nature really is like, because we saw the best and worst of human nature throughout this process. So if you're worried or concerned or confused, you're not alone. As Wayne Dyer said, you have to be a little crazy not to feel crazy in a crazy environment. We're worried about a lot of things. The climate, viruses, online hate communities, precisely the things that Dr. King would want us to take the high road on as we remember him and the positive ripple effect he's had in this world. Hate the sin, not the sinner, right? Ralph Waldo Emerson said, to build self-esteem, get out of yourself, volunteer, serve others. In 2006, Dylan Roof, a white nationalist, entered a Baptist church and shot 10 people. And even as he was shooting them repeatedly, he continued to insult them with his epithets. But the families gathered later, the 9 families, and as a group forgave him. They said, naturally there's anger, but we cannot in our hearts afford hate. We cannot hate, we must forgive. In 2014, a young man by the name of Elliot Rogers, he had everything in the world, money, and came from privilege, but he had poor self-esteem. He didn't have connection with his family. His father was a Hollywood producer and film director who was just not available to love and role model for his son. The son developed a jealousy of other young men and decided, because he's constantly being rejected, which was because he was acting socially awkward, because he believed that about himself. He didn't have bonds with anyone. He was solo. He really needed love. But he went on a rampage as well. He decided to have a day of retribution, as he called it. He wrote a 144-page manifesto before he did that. I read every page of that. And it resounded with the same message between the lines, that I am worthless. And how often we forget how we can help the self-esteem of other people around us, independent of color, religion, age, or anything. And of course here, I don't want to dwell on it too long, but Boulder's been through hell, right? The King Soopers event, the Marshall Fire, Barnes & Noble recently, on and on and on. Many cities have pain and multiple losses. But to close, I'd like to share an exercise with you. If you all just relax and close your eyes wherever you are. I want to borrow from our South Pacific Islander friends, Hawaiian buddies, a forgiveness practice I'll share with you now. And the principle behind it is that we create our own experiences, and we're responsible for controlling ourselves. It's up to us to change. Forgiveness is a gift that we give ourselves. The 12 Steps program also reminds us to let go of things, to let go and let God take control of our lives. We just have to be willing to be willing. This prayer, some of you may know, is the Ho'oponopono prayer. It's a Hawaiian word that translates to correction. And now, I ask you just to relax, continue to keep your eyes closed, and in your own self-talk, repeat after me these words. First, I am sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Open your eyes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Frank, for your meditations and your quotes. So we celebrate the life of Martin Luther King, and we are so happy because all of us were part and parcel of the community. So Huala Community Organization founded in 2016 here in Boulder and with the community. So we are partnering, as I said before, we are partnering with the Boulder Art Commission and also Human Relations Commission and many others, even Community Foundation. So we are celebrating this year and the community. We embrace each other, we connect with each other in diversity and inclusion, regardless of whatever you have, color, religions, whatever race, and all that. It's about love we spread around.